Hey there folks, welcome to the channel. I'm glad you could make it. In today's episode, we are going to be talking about seasoning your smoker. Not only why you should season it, but how you should season it as well. Why should you season your smoker? Well, when you get your brand new smoker, it's usually not pre-seasoned. And what that means is that it's going to have all sorts of byproducts from the manufacturing process. Things like residues, machine oils, odors, dust. And we don't want any of that stuff to impart any kind of off flavors onto whatever we're going to be smoking. So the first reason as to why you're going to want to season your smoker is to get rid of all of that stuff that's associated with the manufacturing process, to burn it off so that we can have a fresh slate, a clean smoker ready to smoke our meat, our cheese, or whatever we got. The next reason as to why you should season your smoker, and in my opinion, the most important reason, it's to protect your smoker. When you season your smoker, you're going to put a beautiful layer of protection on the metal inside your smoker, and that's going to prevent corrosion. If you want your smoker to last a long time, you definitely don't want rust. If you happen to catch last week's episode called What Happens When You Don't Season Your Smoker, you will see firsthand the onset of corrosion that forms when you don't season it, and we explain why. But thankfully we caught it soon enough, and the quality of the materials are really high, and so it wasn't that bad. But depending on what your smoker is made of, that rust, that corrosion can happen very, very quickly. You definitely don't want that. In today's video, I'm going to show you a couple techniques that I use when seasoning my smoker. We're going to be seasoning our brand new Pro Series Model 4 smoker from Smokin' It Smoker, and you can apply these same techniques to any style smoker that you have. Let's get started. All right, let's take a look at our smoker. This is the brand new convection smoker from Smokin' It. We have not done a single cook in it. I did clean it out already, but we're going to just go through the process so that you can see what it's all like. I'm going to remove the racks and then remove the shelves. And that's kind of one of the benefits of having a straight-walled smoker with removable shelves. Very easy to clean and maintain. We're also going to remove our firebox. There we go. Off camera, the inside of our smoker was cleaned with a soapy rag, and right now we're just wiping everything down, kind of like one final pass with a dry paper towel, just to make sure that there's no debris, dust, or any kind of moisture on the walls. And once we've got that done, let's look at our oil. Now, I'm going to be using bacon fat to season my smoker, but there are a multitude of different oils that you could use. Matter of fact, stick around to the end of this video where we cover some additional options for oil. The trick here is to apply a very thin coat of oil on the entire surface inside your smoker. Now, what I'm going to be doing is just dipping that paper towel in the oil and then rubbing it on the wall. But there are lots of different methods of application. If you want to use a squirt bottle, a sponge, heck, if you want to grab a handful and splash it on the wall, that's fine too. But the end result should be the same. You want a nice thin coating on the entire surface, just like that. You don't want it too thick, otherwise it's not going to set up properly. You're going to end up with a sticky coating rather than a polymerized coating. So very important. Nice thin coating of oil, whatever oil you choose to use, all on the inside of your smoker. And if you're going to be seasoning the outside of your smoker as well, you're going to do this exact same thing on the exterior of your smoker. What I have found to work the absolute best, and I'm talking the longest lasting coating, is to actually build several layers of polymerized oil, and that's going to give you a nice thick protection. And that's basically what we're going to be doing in this video. So this process you see right here, this is kind of like round number one. We'll do it a couple more times and you'll see the results. There's our firebox. Off camera, I went ahead and did the inside of the firebox. All that's already done. And now we're just going to go ahead and do the top. And once again, nice thin layer. See, notice that it's not sopping, it's not dripping. I don't have a puddle of oil on the floor of the smoker. That's exactly what you want. Now we're also going to be doing the shelves. And I got to admit, it is a little tedious to get into all those spaces, but we'll make it happen. Maybe a paintbrush would be a little bit easier. But nonetheless, we got it covered. So we've done now both the shelves. And then off camera, we did all of the racks, which is what these are right here. All these racks are also coated in a very thin layer of oil. And there we go. We're going to close it down. Now let's look at the controller. So I'm going to show you two ways. Let's pull up the app, and I'm going to show you how to do it on the app. This is the Smokin' It Smoker Wi-Fi app. Notice the three dots on the top right-hand corner. Let's click the control setting option. That's the second option from the top. And that's going to bring us into this sub menu. And the only thing we want to change is the smoker high alarm, because we need to increase the temperature of our smoker. As you can see, the smoker high alarm is currently set to 325. That is the default setting, and that's kind of the max temperature that your smoker will get to before the alarm goes off. But in order to season your smoker, you really want it to about 350. So what we're going to do is increase that number to 375 so that we can operate around that 350 Fahrenheit without any problems. So we're going to click that option and change that number to 375, which is going to let our smoker run at a slightly higher temperature for the purpose of seasoning our smoker. Okay, so now that it's set to 375, let's go back to that top menu and click Cooking Profile, and this is where we're going to set our temperature. So step 1, notice it says 200 degrees Fahrenheit. We are going to increase that to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. That's the temperature we're going to be seasoning our smoker at. And I just want to reiterate that 350 degrees is only the temperature that we're going to be using to season our smoker. So don't try to set your smoker up to where you could try to hit, 400, 450 degrees, because you could absolutely damage your heating element, and you definitely don't want to do that. Okay, so our temperature is set to 350. The ending is programmed for time, no problem there. And see where it says timer? Currently it reads 1 hour. We want to increase that to 8 hours. At the end of this video, we're going to talk a little bit about times and temperatures when it comes to seasoning your smoker, so be sure to stick around for that. This is what your final screen should look like. Step number 1 should be 350 degrees, ending in 8 hours. And there we go. Now our smoker is ready to be seasoned. All we got to do is let it run its course. I'm also going to show you how to do this in the event that you don't have Wi-Fi, or for whatever reason you can't access your Wi-Fi and you have a smoking smoker. Turn your unit on and long press the set button. So a couple seconds. You're going to notice you have a menu that says Control Settings, System Configuration. You're going to click the option that says Control Settings. So we're going to short press the Set button. And right there, you're going to see Smoker High Alarm. It's set to 325. Remember, we want to increase that because that's going to allow us to heat our smoker up at a hotter temperature. We're going to bump that up to 375. We're going to hit the Set button to lock that in place and hit the Back button to go back to the original menu. One more time. There we go. Now we want to set the temperature, and we're going to short press the Set button. Notice right there it says Step 1 Smoker Temp, so we need to go down and hit the Set button to access that particular parameter. The 200 is now flashing. We're going to increase that to 350. We're basically saying we want the smoker to run at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. We're going to hit Set to lock it in. We're going to go down, make sure it's programmed to time, and it says time there. We're going to go down again, and we're going to set for how long we want that 350 to operate. So let's press Set so that we can access that parameter, and we're going to increase that to 8 hours. Now, it doesn't take 8 hours to season your smoker, but I like to have a little bit of wiggle room. And there we go. Our 8 hours is set. Let's hit the Set button to lock it in. Let's hit the back arrow key to get to the home page, and we are good to go. Now, I do want to mention that if your smoker is a convection smoker, you can go ahead and turn that on low, but if you don't have a convection system, not a big deal. It's honestly not necessary. One thing I like to do when it comes to seasoning my smoker is add a little smoke during the last hour of the seasoning process. The smoke that you add, and it's totally optional if you choose to do it or not do it, is going to really impart a nice flavor to the meats or the cheeses or whatever you end up smoking. So I like to start with a little pecan, a little hickory, but like I said, you could do mesquite, you could do oak, you could do cherry or apple. This is what our smoker looks like after 4 hours of the seasoning process. And this is done. You could start cooking in this immediately, or you could repeat this process a couple times to add a few more layers of that polymerized coating, giving you even better protection, which is exactly what we're going to be doing. What I'm about to show you are the results of me doing this exact same process about 3 times, which is typically what I'll do. And you'll see a definite difference between, round number 1 and round number 3. So we put a beautiful thin layer of oil coating. We put a lot of heavy smoke in there on the back end. There's kind of a before and after so that you could see what that looks like. And this is just a beautiful protection in our smoker. The end result should look glossy and feel smooth. It shouldn't feel greasy, oily, or gummy in any way. When the seasoning process is done properly, you should be able to clean your smoker with some soapy water and a non-abrasive pad, and the polymerized coating will stay on your smoker. It shouldn't come off in any way. If you do happen to clean your smoker down to bare metal, you should always reseason it before doing another cook. All right, guys, that's how we season our smoker, and I got to tell you, It looks amazing, and it's now ready to cook some meat. Before we talk about different oils to use and different times and temperatures, let's recap in the event that you might have any questions. The first thing you're going to want to do when it comes to seasoning your smoker is wipe the entire inside of your smoker with a wet towel or a soapy towel, and then just make sure that everything is dried off. Next, you're going to want to apply a thin coating of oil to the entire interior of your smoker. That's the walls, the shelves, the racks, everything. Now, if you plan on seasoning the outside of your smoker as well, let's say it's bare metal and that metal tends to rust, or if you have a smoker that used to be painted and the paint is chipping off and that area tends to rust, do the exact same thing on the exterior also. Next thing you want to do is fire your smoker up, close it down, and let it do its thing. And that brings us to temperatures. If you're going to be seasoning an offset or a pit that can get fairly hot, you're going to want to fire it up to about 425 or 450, and you're going to notice that the polymerization of the oil is actually going to happen a lot faster, and that's because you're hitting that smoke point a lot quicker. You're introducing carbon, and it's going to create that molecular bond that's going to protect your metal. But if you're going to be seasoning a digital smoker like we did in this video, unfortunately you can't get up to 425 or 450 because you'll damage the element. These units are not designed to cook that hot. They're really designed to cook around 250 or lower. And so what we did was adjust the settings, push that temperature up to 350 degrees, which will polymerize the oil just fine. The only difference between polymerizing at a higher temperature and polymerizing at a lower temperature is that it's just going to take a little bit longer, which is why we set our program for about 8 hours. Now, just to let you know, it didn't take 8 hours to polymerize that oil. It only took about 4 to 5 hours, and really it depends on the type of oil that you're using. Before we talk about the oils, I do want to mention one more thing when it comes to temperature. If you are going to be seasoning a pit that can get fairly hot, you want to make sure not to take it above 600 degrees Fahrenheit. When you start to heat oils up above 600 degrees Fahrenheit, you're actually going to bypass the polymerization process, and you're just going to burn off the oil, and it'll leave you with absolutely nothing. You'll have bare metal. You'll have to repeat the entire process all over again. And that goes not only for the inside, but also the outside. So make sure you keep your temperatures below 600 degrees and you should be fine. And that brings us to what type of oil should you use when it comes to seasoning your smoker? Well, there's lots of different oils that you could use when it comes to seasoning your smoker. Some, quite frankly, work better than others. I'm just going to give you a list of some that I've personally used that I really like. They form, a great adhesion to the metal. They polymerize really well. They form a great coating, and they last a long time, which is kind of the goal. You don't want to be repeating this process every time you wipe your smoker down with a sponge. All right, so I used bacon in this video. I think bacon is a great, animal fat that polymerizes well. The problem with bacon is that it does tend to impart a little bit of that bacon flavor on whatever you're going to be cooking. And although it's very, very subtle, some people don't necessarily want that in everything. And so I'm not one of those people. And sticking with animal fats, lard is another great fat that polymerizes well and provides a great coating for protection. Also tallow, if you can get your hands on some tallow, or maybe you have some readily available, that is a great fat to use when it comes to seasoning your smoker. And now for a couple non-animal options that I've used and really like. You've got canola oil in the liquid or Pam in the spray. Absolutely amazing oils for seasoning your smoker. The Pam is ultra convenient. I got to be completely honest. All you got to do is spray down your smoker. You can get into the nooks and crannies without a lot of hassle, and then take a paper towel, wipe it to get that thin coating, and you're in business. Sunflower oil is an incredible oil when it comes to seasoning your smoker. It's a strong oil. It polymerizes great, nice, strong coating, and it's super durable. So I really like sunflower oil. But you also have olive oil, which can kind of be a little expensive, but I use it and it works great. And then don't forget about Crisco. Regular store-bought shortening Crisco brand works great for, seasoning your smoke. And you know what? I think that kind of covers everything, the different oils that you could use. I personally wouldn't use things like flaxseed oil, although technically it polymerizes. I find that it doesn't coat as well, like it tends to flake off, which isn't really a good thing. We've talked about temperatures. Just remember, at lower temperatures, it takes longer for the oil to polymerize. At higher temperatures, that happens a lot faster. All you want to do is just give it a check if you're in a digital smoker about 4 or 5 hours into the process. And if the oil is no longer sticky, If it's no longer oily or gummy and it's smooth, then it's polymerized and you can either stop or you can go ahead and apply another coating and repeat the process. All right, folks, thanks for watching this video. If you have any questions about the seasoning process, leave them in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed or got something out of this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you're new to this channel and you enjoy smoking meats, barbecue, outdoor cooking, sausages, all that really great stuff, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell, because we've got all kinds of great, beautiful content with your name all over it. Thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.